Welcome to the Jarol SVU channel. Today, based on my 4 sets of playing Sabine and against Sabine in different colors, I will present my ideas for countering Sabine. The reason for this film is of course another Sabine successes in Peku, Richmond or Lille. First I have a small comment, namely some say that this is the golden age of Sabine, the best time to play Sabine. Well, this is not entirely true. Sabine dominated most of the games and in the second and first sets, until Boba and Han covered her a bit. But even in the Boba Green meta or Han Yellow meta, Sabine was always high. Especially in TTI, where we have many great Sabine players such as Erov, who was in the top 4 in Lille in the second and first sets. Sabine ECL won almost all of the tournaments, more than Boba and Han together. So Sabine, since the printing of Poe, Wrecker, Cassian and Darksaber, was always in the top 3, maybe top 4 of the best decks. Now after removing or weakening her competition, she is strong, but is she the strongest? In my opinion, no. Kira is stronger, more about that in the next video about my league of best decks. What decks with Sabine are worth paying attention to? First of all, Sabine ECL, historically she has the most success, she has the greatest destruction potential if she draws well. Remember that Poe, Wrecker and Darksaber are the main problems you have to face in this matchup. Playing for 2 plus Wing Leader, prepared Cassian or Pinks are big problems, but not the main ones in this matchup, because apart from Cassian, the rest of these tricks were available in the first set and Sabine was very far from dominating there and far from being the best deck. Sabine Yellow, I played this deck for a very long time. Historically, in the first set, she was a similar level, if not higher than Green. In the second, she was much weaker due to the lack of big improvements compared to the huge improvement of Green Sabine. In the third, thanks to another 3 chips for 1. In the Space version or the Grab version Plo Koon, Sabine Yellow start approaching the level of Green again. My version of Yellow in test worked even a little better than Green, but this was of course very specific test in my one-person league. In the fourth set, Yellow Sabine got a lot of new cards, but Green too, so it doesn't change the fact that Green is rather a little better. Yellow can be better for a specific meta. When you play against Yellow Sabine, you have to remember that she has a much greater attack potential in space than Green. Much more cheap units than Green. She is generally more dangerous in the race than Green because she has 30 HP, Falcon, Surprise Strike, relies more on the 4 cross, can play sneak attack or breaking in. And finally, Sabine Data Vault. This is basically a mid-range that has an acceleration option, has a few late game options, and simply a good aggro mirror and matchup for Queenland thanks to large amount of HP. You have to be ready for different combinations with timely intervention, and responding to Poe, Wrecker, Radus, maybe Cried Dragon after side. If you play aggro and have less than 30 HP race, generally does not make sense unless you possibly play Kylo. You have to try not to die and quickly counter the opponent. If you play aggro with a base of 30 or more, you can consider a race focused on quickly deploying units, possible good trades, and collecting finishers such as Surprise Strike, Sneak Attack, for a cause I believe in, and so on. Moving on to the detailed countering, we will discuss countering from all positions. This will apply to all versions of Sabine, but at the end I will supplement this message with detailed notes for versions other than Sabine CL, to which this applies more. First, countering from aggro position. You can use a base of 30 or more, a natural advantage in the race. Your opponent will really need a strong hit from ECL to somehow compensate for the missing HP, which usually won't happen. A lot of cards giving tempo can also be decisive. In addition to acceleration or hand damage, tempo can also provide improvements thanks to which you quickly have large units that are ideal target for buffing. The swarm strategy means that Sabine Green usually has fewer units and less attack on table, which puts her into trying to control you, which is not easy for her because she usually needs a perfect match for this. If she rises you anyway, you are in a better position. When it comes to specific decks, Kylo and Yellow and Red have numerous advantages over Sabine. Much stronger leader ability for race, much stronger leader deploy and faster deck. Wedge has a faster deck, better ability, great advantage in space. Sabine is harder to defend in space. Even Bright Hope usually don't save her because pilots give wide possibilities of killing him. I know that the question may arise, aren't those decks are only good against Sabine? No, definitely no. Yes, they are not the most powerful possible decks, but they have good mirror aggro. They are solid against Queenland, especially after sideboard. They have some chances against Kira. Against Han in different colors they also have a chance.
They are good against Palpatine and so on. Kylo can be countered a bit easier, for example with various pings, but Wedge requires a lot of effort because as a midrange. Large bases are of course also welcome, in this case either to have a better chance that Sabine won't finish you off or try to race sometimes. For me, if your deck is a regular midrange, not some aggro tempo deck, then your units are not too aggressive, you don't place units for 1, your standard game plan assumes a victory of about 8 resources. What else can be helpful in this situation? Removals can of course be very useful. Force choke is great because it kills almost every unit. Waylay is great against units with experiences, or Luke the Pilot. Power of the Dark Side is a great option to kill Sabine's ship in the second turn before she gets Chewbacca, and generally a decent card in this matchup. Open Fire is solid because it kills everything except Cassian in the second turn. Overwhelming Barrage can be very useful in many situations. Significant amounts of restore, solid finishers such as Luke, Han, Vader, Cad Bane, or Walker. Their common feature is that they do a lot, and Sabine, especially if she used up ECL earlier, may have a problem removing them, and even if she removes one, the other should close the game. Especially if you have a large base, the option for a quick counter-attack when you stop Sabine's first strike can be very useful, so cards can serve you successfully both for defense and offense, such as Surprise Strike, Falcon, Maul or Barrage are also very useful. When it comes to specific decks, Luke without a Data Vault in the last set had a very close matchup against Sabine. Now it seems that finally 3 HP tips the scales in favor of Luke, and he is a slight favorite in this matchup. Han Blue can quickly play Luke or Han, and both are one of the best available finishers against Sabine. Han Red and Green have a solid matchup against Sabine because they can sometimes be faster than her and sometimes play a solid control game. Moving on to control, I will immediately include both hard and soft control. Removal and healing are of course very useful. You also need to have a solid finishers. You absolutely have to have answers to Chewbacca or Sabine with a Darksaber. Barrage, no glory, no good to me that, confiscate, traitorous, funk fighter, rivals for or Kira deploy. All of these cards can be useful in my opinion. You need to have at least 3 cards against Chewbacca and 3 cards against Sabine with a Darksaber. Sentinels, especially Lieutenant Charleston, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Village Protector are very strong against Sabine. As for specific decks, Kira at 30 is in my opinion the best answer in the meta sense because it is very strong against almost all decks. Against Sabine it is about 60-40. Bosk Blue, according to Torque, has a similar effectiveness here, and it is rather hard to disagree with him if he plays Childsen because he has 3 top targets in the main and can sometimes heal from him twice. Then Snoke, Palpatine, Avenger and Kite should do the job. Anakin on Colossus, when I watch him in TTI and at various tournaments, usually win this matchup, and it's not strange considering how much HP he has on base, Sentinels units with Restore, and how easily he can score a game with Anakin deployed. All of those tips were mainly for Sabine ECL. When it comes to Sabine Yellow, the situation is similar. The only important detail is that if you are not one of the very fast decks I mentioned in the aggro section, you need more defense in space than against green, because if you let her build a white space, you will simply die. Against red, you have to remember that she will most likely play very white with many ones. She does not have any finishers more expensive than 4 because her plan is very fast. Also be careful to not let a House of War do 10 damage to you out of nowhere. Blue usually relies heavily on upgrades and it's also very aggressive, so we have to figure out how to effectively handle this situation. So in terms of the meta, in my opinion, if you want to win against Sabine with a leader and a simple deck and have a strong deck, you will need a Kira, Bosk or Wedge. If you are satisfied with an okay matchup with Sabine, Han and Quinlan can be a good choice. Besides, there are of course many other decks that can be solid here but need special adjustments, more removal, healing or a larger base. These adjustments are not easy because Sabine currently has many options, much more than in the first set, a little more than in the third set, but of course there are many cards that increases your chance in all colors. To sum up, Sabine, especially Sabine ECL, is certainly currently one of the strongest decks in the game, which is confirmed now in the Peku season. However, you have several solid options in different styles of play to have a positive matchup against her, and this is also among the best decks in the game, led by probably the current best Kira, which it seems that only mirrors can stop in the long run. Leave a like and subscribe. Thanks, bye, and see you in the next episode in a week.